Hola estudiantes, it's Senora Antoski. We are going to be doing task number 3 together in your week 3 learning plan. And it looks like this page in your unit packet, and it says direct object pronouns, and it looks like this. Now, what would be helpful is if you can find, as mine are kind of rolling away crazy, 3 different pens or markers or highlighters or something, because it will probably be helpful to do some color coding. And you want to select one of those colors to go with the subjects in the sentences, one of those colors to identify the verbs in the sentence, and one of the colors to identify the direct objects in the sentence. And it may even be helpful if you can find some colors similar to mine, so that way the color coding together looks similar. So this is a review. We just spent the last few minutes as we were together on Zoom, and you will watch some of the Senor Jordan tutorials going through and replacing direct object pronouns in a sentence. And as a recap, remember, we said that direct object pronouns replace the who or what receives the action of the verb. So in, like, for example, sentence number 1, they watch the TV. If I say, what did they watch? The TV. Then you have to identify what the direct object pronoun should be based on the gender and number of the object. So in our notes packet, remember I said that especially for objects, if a word starts with L, like el gorro, then you would replace it with lo. The it word would be lo. Or if the word begins with la, like la televisión in the first example, the direct object pronoun would be la. Or if it's one person's name, like I invite Maria, who did I invite? Maria, then I would use la invito. And same thing with plural objects. So if a word starts with los, like los zapatos, I would use the direct object los. Or if a word begins with las, like las camisetas, I would use the word las, or the direct object pronoun las. And if it's 2 or more names, like I invite Maria y Juan, I would say los invito or las invito if they were 2 girls. So we reviewed that in the other video, but I just wanted to point that out because it'll be helpful here. Now, when you're just getting into the flow of direct object pronouns, it's going to feel a little clunky just because it's a little contradictory to what our English language normally does. But we're going to go through some of these examples together. So in the sentences here, we're going to first color code and think through what the sentences mean, and then we'll talk about how to replace them in the next examples. So some of them, remember, they might not have subjects because sometimes in Spanish we omit the subjects. So let's go through this one together. So in número 2, it says, encontraste el boleto. So encontraste there is our verb. Did you find? And what did you find? Did you find el boleto, the ticket? Encontraste el boleto. So what did you find? El boleto. So our direct object pronoun there is going to be, sorry guys, I'm trying to write this here, lo. And then I'm going to put lo in right before our conjugated verb. So my direct object becomes lo encontraste. All right. Next one. María tiene las raquetas. So my subject is Maria because she's the person who is possessing. My verb is tiene. Maria tiene, she has. And what does she have? Las raquetas. So she has the rackets, like tennis rackets. And because las raquetas begins with las, my direct object pronoun that I'm going to use to replace las raquetas is going to be las, meaning she has them. And remember, I have to put the direct object pronoun right before the conjugated verb here. So my sentence is, María las tiene. Maria has them. All right, let's look at the next example. No tengo los esquís. So there's not a subject here, but I know I'm talking about myself because tengo always goes with yo. No tengo, I don't have. And what don't I have? Because the direct object pronouns replace the who or what. I don't have los esquís. And because the word los esquís begins with los, the direct object pronoun I'm going to use to replace those is los. I don't have the skis to I don't have them. No los tengo. Super. Okay, número 5. Llevo mis dos gatos. I'm bringing my 2 cats. So my verb is llevo, conjugated in the yo form. And what am I bringing? My 2 cats. Mis dos gatos. And this one might confuse you a little bit because there's a possessive adjective here, my 2 cats. But you have to think, okay, my 2 cats, gatos are los gatos. So you would be saying, I'm bringing them. So you're replacing los. But you still have to get rid of my 2 because you wouldn't say in English, I bring my 2 of them. You just say, I'm bringing them. So over here you would put los llevo. All right. Número 6. Usas la crema protectora. So the verb here, usas, do you use? And the next word, la crema protectora, this word might be a little new for you, but it stands for protective cream. Can you take a guess what protective cream means? If you guessed sunblock, that is correct. So again, my noun starts with la crema protectora. So I'm going to use the word or the direct object pronoun la to replace it. So I would ask you, do you use it? La usas? All right, we're off to a good start. Número 7. ¿Necesitan los anteojos? Do you all need los anteojos de sol? Now we learned gafas de sol are sunglasses. And actually some Spanish countries use anteojos instead of gafas. But do you need the sunglasses? And again, because remember the noun starts with los, we're going to use los here. Because then it would be, yes, we need them. Los necesitan. Los means them as the direct object. Necesitan means we need. So los necesitan. Okay, número 8. ¿Tienes, do you have, las fotos? Las fotos are the photos, right? And it begins with las. So our direct object pronoun we're going to use is las. And the sentence would be, las tienes? Do you have them? Right? Because it would just sound silly if I said, hey, do you have the photos? And you said, yeah, I have the photos. Or I have the photos. Instead, in English, we would just say, yeah, I have them, because that makes our language a little bit more efficient and it makes a little bit more sense. And it's not so repetitive, right? We don't sound like Siri, who repeats the subjects all the time after she says something. All right, the next one. Pasamos, we spend. Pasamos el día en la playa. Uh-oh. This is where it gets tricky because we actually see 2 nouns here. El día, la playa. So we spend the day in the beach. So en isn't going to be anything because that's just a preposition. We spend it at the beach. Now we have to think, well, what's the direct object pronoun in the sentence? Am I replacing el día or am I replacing la playa? And you have to ask yourself, if direct object pronouns replace the who or what is replacing the action of the verb, what would that be? So if I say we spend, and what are we spending at the beach? The day. So el día is actually our direct object pronoun. La playa is just where it's happening. So I would replace el día with lo. So my sentence would be, lo pasamos en la playa. Now, the next 2 are a little tricky because they are questions. The next 2 ones are questions. So if you look at these ones, it's saying the same thing, but there's still a verb and there's still a direct object. So if you see here, the verb is, let me use my different color. The verb is ven. ven comes from the verb ver, which means to see. So do you guys, because this is asking a question, have you guys seen the professor? And actually in questions 10 and 11, they're both very similar. But do you notice what's different between the two of them? What's different is in numero 10, la profesora, that's feminine. Oops, let me use my purple. La profesora, that one's feminine. But al profesor in numero 11, that's masculine. So in the first one, since it's a female professor, I'm going to have to use the direct object pronoun of la. But in the second one, since it's a male professor, I'm going to have to use the direct object pronoun of lo. So in numero 10, have you seen her? La ven. Or in the second one, have you seen him or do you see him? Lo ven. Okay, super. Cuatro más. So here we have, this is one of those double verb scenarios in numero 12. Tienen que estudiar la tarea. Do you have to study? And what do you have to study? La tarea, the homework. Tienen que estudiar la tarea. So since la tarea begins with la, I would replace that with la. La tarea. So do you have to study it? La tienen que estudiar. Okay. Número 13. Encontramos el boleto. We find, and what do we find? El boleto, which is the ticket. And I would use lo here to replace that. We find the ticket. Over to we find it. And in the last few here, then I have Ana conoce, so we have subjects here. So Ana is my subject, and the verb is conoce, which means to know. So Ana knows. And who does she know? In número 14, she knows a mis hermanas. And in número 15, she knows a mis hermanos. So since in number 14, she's knowing my sisters, and that's a group of females, I'm going to use las. But in number 15, it's saying my brothers, or it could be a mixed gender group, I'm going to use los. So in this one, it would be Ana knows them, the girls. And in this one, it would be Ana knows them, the boys, or the mixed gender group. All right. So in this next section, we're going to kind of consolidate a little bit. And because this is answering the questions using the correct direct object pronoun of the verb. And remember, I have a note here that says direct object pronouns go right before the conjugated verb. So remember that. So in this one, we're not gonna do as much of the color coding because we're just gonna kind of try to plop those a little bit more into our questions. So again, in número 1, ¿tienes sus anteojos? Do you have your glasses? Remember we said anteojos sometimes can replace gafas. So since those words are los anteojos, my response would be sí, los tengo. I have them. Next one, número 2, ¿escribes las composiciones? Do you write the compositions? Sí, las escribo. I write them. Número 3, ¿llevas tus guantes? Are you wearing your gloves? And remember the words guantes as los guantes. So even though they're your guantes, we have to use los because the words guantes are masculine. To say, or the noun guantes is masculine. To say, yes, I wear them. Sí, los llevo. Next one, ¿compraste la blusa? And we can just use compras here because that's in the past tense actually. But you guys know compras. Do you buy la blusa? And you want to say, yes, I bought it. La compré. Número 5. ¿Tienes tu traje de baño? Do you have your bathing suit? And remember, it's el traje de baño. So because it's el traje de baño, it's going to go to lo. Sí, lo tengo. Número 6. ¿Conocen ustedes a mis primas? Do you guys know my cousins and my cousins that are girls because it's primas here? And so we're going to use las, and it would be sí. Las conocemos. Número 7. ¿Venden ustedes su carro? Are you guys taking your car? Or are you selling your car? And carro would be el carro, so it'd be sí. Lo vendemos. Número 8. ¿Preparan ustedes la comida? Do you all prepare the food? Sí. La preparamos. ¿Buscas a María? Are you searching for Maria? Are you searching for her? And remember, if it's one name, it can be replaced with lower la. And because Maria is a female, I'll use la. So it'd be sí. La busco. Y finalmente, número 10. ¿Juegas al fútbol americano? Do you play football? And you want to say, yes, I play it. So because it's el fútbol americano, we're going to use lo. And it would be sí. Lo juego. All right. So feel free to pause this video if you need to check your answers or if you need to add anything or take a look. But you have just completed task number 3 with me. Muy bien. Buen trabajo. Adiós.